Boston Celtics thing, you already know what it looks like.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
You know, I was going to do, I had a few days off. I was going to do like a whole new intro of nothing was better than what we had. So I said, 2025, we just rolling with what we got.
What's the old saying, Tone? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. No, if it ain't broke,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
What's
And that's only
saying?
like a month old anyways. It's not like, I'm always dabbling in the lab, but Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Firm believer in the logic. What is it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. No, if it ain't broke, don't break it. How about that?
But if it ain't broke, don't break it. That's
leave it alone.
Better.
Yeah, leave it alone.
That's a good one.
No, leave it alone. What up, Tony Tone?
I said that Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, but at the end of the day, we not like we didn't already do that with. Hey, check this out. We did not plan this.
No, we did not.
The Fluent
no, we did not.
Chill. Hey, yo, that's the show. That's the show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where I want to start.
Got a lot to go
How
over.
has your break been? How have your holidays been? Let's start there.
Hey, man, basketball and food and basketball. I was not appreciative.
Two of my favorite things.
I was not appreciative of the NBA. Let me rephrase that, Tone. I was not appreciative of the NFL's intrusion on the NBA on Christmas. I did not appreciate that at all. There were some people who, it's good business. It's great business for the NFL. Tone is an NFL guy, y'all. So
I love
Tone is all in on the NFL. So just so we're clear, I hated it. And the reason why I hated it, because you are already the Billy Badass of the neighborhood. We know that. It's not news, Tone. We already know that you're king. Football is king. If anybody doesn't believe football is king, understand and go take a look at how the NBA schedules its games on Sunday and on championship weekend. Understand how they schedule their games. We all know that football is king. I don't think that we are on the fence about that. We all know that. So with that being said, the NFL shows up on Christmas, which is on a Wednesday this year. Tone, do you know how many Wednesday games the NFL has had?
In the history?
Yes. How many Wednesday games?
I would say the 3 that they had this year.
Okay. The 3 that they had this year. So previous
I don't
to the
know
3
that. I'm guessing. I'm just guessing.
So previous to the 3 that they had this year, the first one was in 1948.
Okay.
The next one was in
that
2000.
game. Was that game cold? Because you were there, right?
I was not there, unfortunately. No. no, I was not there for that.
I said it before someone in the chat would say it.
You know somebody was going to say it. 100%. You know somebody was going to say. I set myself up for that. I walked right into that one. So 2012, I believe 2008. Either 2008 or no, so I'm sorry, Tony. It was 2012. That game was on Wednesday. Why? Because the Democratic Convention was moved
to Thursday.
So they had to move the game from Thursday to Wednesday for that. And then in 2020, that game was moved from Thursday to Wednesday because of COVID. That's it. Since the NFL's inception, there have been no other games on Wednesday. You guys don't play on Wednesday.
Okay, on Wednesday. However, let me be the football side of this conversation. However, Christmas landed on a Sunday a few years ago.
Yes, it did.
And instead of changing their entire schedule, they kept their Sunday slate of games on Christmas Day.
Yep.
And it did really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas was on a Thursday. They kept their Thursday game on, and it did really, really, really well.
Yep.
Thanksgiving, obviously, for people south of the border, always on a Thursday. Those games do really, really well. So if you're going to get these types of numbers in comparison to the NBA, because money first, I'm putting my games on a Tuesday if it's Christmas Day, because I'm getting close to I'll round it down. 24 million people on average to watch my football games. Let me just tell you something that I don't have up here. If you combine the viewership of every single NBA game on Christmas Day, combine them, and we know
Still
that it's the
doesn't
same,
matter.
and we know that it's the same person. It's not a different people. Every single game combined
Still
had the
didn't match.
same amount of views as the Cowboys. No, as the Ravens game, where they only allowed 2 points.
That was it.
2 points, and they had the same amount of viewership. Wouldn't you, as a business, I say that again, as a business, wouldn't you do the same thing?
I would, but that's not the point,
Thing
Tone.
as
The
a business.
Right, I would, Tone, but that's not the point. The point
But it
is we
is.
already know that you are king. You just talked to me, Tone, about Christmas falling on a Sunday. There's a reason. We all know that football, the NFL in particular, they own a day of the week. So on Christmas, if it falls on a Sunday, the NBA knows we are intruding on your day because we know that Sunday is your day, even if it does fall on Christmas. That is your day. So we are intruding on that day. We know that on any day that we play games, that you play games, you are going to get more viewership. Christmas outside of Sunday, okay, we all know that the NFL owns Sunday, they own Monday, they own Thursday. They own those days of the week. And they play their games on Sunday, on Saturday too, by the way. But Sunday is the day of the week that they own. We all know that. That's not news.
Yes.
With that being said, Christmas is the NBA. Everybody knows that. Now,
It's
always been the NBA.
Right. And
always
guess
been.
what? Let me tell you this. Baseball used to be America's pastime. Used to be. So just because she used to be your girl doesn't mean that she ain't somebody else's now.
She is somebody else. And here's the difference, Tone. I actually know that you're married.
Look.
Even all of the games combined, they still
The
didn't.
Texans scored 2 points against the Ravens, and they had 24.3 million people watching it. Every single game combined, if they were different people, which we know they're not, what is that? 10, 14, 21, 24. It's 25 million every single game combined if you add them all up as individuals.
And
you cannot ignore that. I see what you're saying, but you can't ignore that.
And we can make the argument that Warriors game, the reason why the ratings went up, because both those football games were over.
They were, and no, there's something to be said about, one of the last times we're going to see LeBron.
Okay,
one of the last times we're going to see LeBron and Steph.
Yes,
face off.
But with that being said, the fact that those games were over did help.
Of course,
because if we had a primetime game. If we had a primetime game, let's say, I don't know, let's say the Chargers were playing Green Bay or something like that, we would have probably gotten lesser views. And I'm pretty confident that those 7.8, I'm thinking that's largely due to the fact that those two NFL games were over at that point. So the NFL decided that we're going to intrude in. We're not going to stay the whole day. No, we're not going to do that. But we'll intrude in on part of your day, and
we're going to do what we do on Thanksgiving. We're going to give people an escape from the table as they need to go loosen their pants and take a breath from all the food and watch some football, which that's what people want to do. There's no reason that the NFL, they owe the NBA nothing. They are in the US, they are a significantly more popular sport, a significantly more watched sport, a significantly more profitable sport to the 18 to 35 male demographic. They just are. And that leads perfectly into the first part of our headline, which is Gregg Popovich killed the NBA.
How so?
Gregg Popovich killed the NBA. I'm going to tell you why right now.
I'm listening.
So we've been talking about this a lot, you and I. And the last time we were on 2 weeks ago, because we took the Christmas week off, we had Lowe, the legend of losing to me, but winning with everybody else. we had it. He jumped on, and we talked about, and you made a very good point, and I agree with your point. They don't have the face of the league, right? In every other generation, we've had a face. Like we can go through the 60s, the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. There was always a face. Since LeBron, I want to say since LeBron left Cleveland, so since he's been a Laker, and this is not a knock on LeBron, it's since he's been a Laker, he has been older. They had that second season he was there, but it was COVID. It was off season. Everything was screwy about that season. I'm talking from a business perspective.
Right.
He hasn't been the face of the league. He's been older. Like I said, the team hasn't been good with that one exception. Even the Warriors, they won, even though they won a chip, it's still been weird. So there isn't, and I don't know that Steph was ever the face of the league anyways, very influential, et cetera, but never, I don't really think the face.
Those two things aren't the same. Those two things are not the same.
They're not the, I want to say from Kobe, who was like, I think Kobe, even as the face of the league, might have been a blip. Just because there's so many Shaq, but I think Shaq was more the face than him. But anyways, I'm not here.
That nonsense that he got into too. That
they took the as they should. Yeah, they took. So I think it's clear you can go without going through the whole history, but it's like Magic, Bird, Jordan, call it Kobe, Shaq, LeBron, and LeBron carried it very well. But since the move to LA, I don't think he's been the face again because of COVID and other and them trying to market other people that have failed. You brought that up, that there's no face, and that's true. The way the game has been played, and I'm going to get to that in a second. Actually, let me pause there and do that, because this all leads to Greg, because people are asking why Popovich. I want to get to that. Do you like the amount of threes that people are shooting in the NBA right now?
Tone, I just watched right before we got on, the Minnesota-Boston game was on. They started the game 12 threes between both teams. They started the game that way. Nothing to the basket. That's the way the game started. 12 threes between both of them.
Go watch, if you can, the first 4 minutes of the Celtics Raptor game from a couple of days ago, where not only did they only shoot threes to start the game, they missed them all. It's atrocious.
The Celtics started 0 for 7 to start the game. That's how they started.
It's literally, there's no other word, but it's atrocious how that game started. The Bulls and Charlotte, the second time in a month,
unbelievable.
They missed 75 threes on the 13th of December, and they did it, I believe, on the 30th of December. It's horrible. I have over a minute. I'm not going to bore you all with it, but I have it right here. Celtics and Raptors. Look, every shot, just whip it around. Okay, watch this. Here it comes for a second. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but just eventually, it's all this. Forget the layup, kick it out, and bonk. Okay, that's what happens. Here's the problem. If I told you in the last 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. In the last 15 years in the NBA Finals, how many teams have shot more three-pointers and lost the final?
How many teams have shot more threes and lost? Let's see.
In the last
Warriors,
15 years.
In the last,
you don't have to count
them
out. Just give me a number. How many have shot more threes and lost?
I'm going to say 3, Tone.
There's one where there's a difference of 2, so I called it a draw. But if you count that one, it'd be 4. But here's the funny thing. Let me run it down for you quick. 2024, Boston shoots more at a higher percentage, wins. 2023 is the anomaly. The Heat shoot more at a higher percentage, but lose to the Nuggets. Here's where it gets crazy. 2022, Warriors shoot more at a lower percentage. So they shoot more, but at a lower beat the Celtics. Bucks shoot more at a lower percentage than the Suns, but beat them. The Lakers shoot more at a lower percentage than the Heat, but beat them. The Raptors, if you can believe this, shoot more at a lower percentage than the Warriors, but beat them. The Warriors shoot more at a higher percentage than the Cavs. The Warriors shoot more at a higher percentage, beat the Cavs. The other anomaly, the Warriors shoot more at a higher percentage, lose to the Cavs. That's that 3-1 comeback. The Warriors shoot more at a higher percentage, beat the Cavs. Spurs shoot more at a higher percentage, beat the Heat. Heat, I called it even, but at a lower percentage, beat the Spurs. Heat shot less at a higher percentage, beat OKC. So that's the other anomaly. And then the Mavs, and then the Lakers shoot more at a lower percent, at a much lower. They shot 28%, by the way, in 2010. Shoot more. The Lakers shoot more at a lower percentage, beat the Celtics. So the majority of the time in the last 15 years, now that changes. Once you go past 2010, it's a completely different scenario. But in the last 15 years, the team that shoots more threes has won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of the 13 championships has gone not to the team that shoots a higher percentage. That's almost irrelevant. To the team that shoots more threes.
And this is where the game is going, Tone. This is exactly what happened to the game. Yes, this is exactly what happened to the game. And we talked about this where it started, and it started with the 8 seconds or less offense, and nobody was convinced. You cannot win an NBA championship as a jump shooting team. You can't do it. No. Enter Steph Curry. I mean, don't get me wrong. Phoenix got close. If Robert Horry doesn't push Steve Nash into the scores table, and Amari Stoudemire might get suspended, I think they beat San Antonio.
Yeah,
and I
you
think
might, probably right.
And I think San Antonio ultimately beats Cleveland, and I think they win the NBA championship. But you can't win the NBA championship as a jump shooting team. That you can't. That's just not going to work. Enter Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. You enter those guys. Monte Ellis, you have to go because these two guys are the future of the NBA. What up, nephew? What's going on with you, brother?
Joseph, what's up?
What's up?
What's up, brother?
So the point of this is it's a copycat league. You have to shoot more threes to win. 100%. Period. The E, I keep telling people in ESPN, no one listens. Go look it up. The E in ESPN stands for entertainment. So here's the problem. What do you want? Yep. Do you want it to be entertaining, or do you want teams to win?
Right.
And that's the problem that we're facing right now. But here is the reason Gregg Popovich is to blame. Who was the first player to load manage his stars?
The first coach to load manage his stars. Oh, man.
Consistently.
I remember it being Gregg Popovich. And the game I vividly remember is I remember when they came down here and he sat Tony Parker. I vividly remember him sitting Tony Parker. I don't think he sat Tim Duncan, but he sat Tony Parker.
Oh, he sat Tim Duncan.
He did sit Tim Duncan too.
Oh, yeah.
I vividly remember him sitting Tony Parker. I do remember that. And I think that was kind of not the induction, but I think we're moving in that direction. He started doing that a lot more.
So here is where my theory comes from. And I apologize because I feel like, see, I knew that would. Can you hear me better now?
Mic check. Wow.
Yeah, you can hear me much better now, can't you? See?
Much better.
I knew something felt weird. So check this out. Greg, in the 90s, you said something when we had Low on that made me really think. You said we don't have a superstar because there were games where Utah scored 59 points. And yet 20 million people watched that game. And the reason was Michael Jordan was in the game. He was playing. So the style of play less than who was in the game. So now fast forward to today, and when I say today, I mean the last 5 years. You've got a game that's not entertaining with a bunch of threes, and you don't know if your superstar is going to be playing because Embiid load manages, LeBron load manages, Steph, the Spurs, obviously, they all do it now. Nobody plays 80 games. So if now you have
both going against you, where you don't have an entertaining style of play, but it wins, so you have to do it, and your stars aren't pushing themselves to be in every game, well, now there's no reason to watch that game. I'm just going to watch the highlights. And if he's playing, cool. If he's not, it's all good. Right. And so that all started with Gregg Popovich. And I'm not going to let him off the hook, because I feel that the stars, not like if LeBron played 82 games, and this is not just him, if LeBron played 82, Steph played 82, Kawhi played 82, Embiid played 82, and we could then Zion played 82, we could then correct that marketing piece. Ja played 82. Now they could promote a star or two and create a face of the league. And what we know is a face of the league supersedes style of play.
Yes, we do know that.
They'll forgive Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, thank you. All of those people playing 82 or 80, whatever game. We know from history that if there's enough of those guys playing, style of play matters less when there's a face. So I blame Gregg Popovich.
And I don't know if I can argue that off the strength that because we've seen other teams who are bad, not necessarily bad, we've seen play that isn't good, but because we have a guy in the league that's more attractive than what the actual game is, I think that matters a little bit more than the game. I feel like it matters just a little bit more than the game. And when I see a guy, right, like Gregg Popovich, because I don't remember a coach consistently sitting players. I do remember Phil Jackson saying, we want to get off to a slow, we want to start slow, in terms of practice. He didn't want to do that. But those guys, Jordan, Scotty, those guys played. Unless they were hurt, and even when they were hurt, they played. And they played up to as many games as they could possibly play. But those guys weren't sitting. And I feel like one of the main reasons why those guys were playing was because my game was what mattered the most. Now, if you add in today, this brand of basketball, which is what wins NBA championships, and it's what's the most attractive, people still want to see that, Tone. I'm not going to argue that people don't want to see that. I think people want to see that. I think the difference is that people want to see that person in addition to the game. Because if that person is there, even if that brand of basketball isn't there, or even if that brand of basketball is there, that person is there to supersede that. So if the basketball is bad, let's just say for the sake of argument, the basketball is bad, that person is there to supersede the basketball. There's a reason why ratings dropped when James was out of the playoffs in 2019. The reason why was because people want to see him win, but people want to see him lose too. That matters.
In 2019, you're saying the finals rating or the playoffs?
Down 48%, Tone.
The finals?
Down 48%. The playoffs.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know about the okay.
With James out of the playoffs, down 48% ratings, and that's largely due to people wanting to see him either win or and not only see him win or lose. Don't forget, Tone, we're also talking about somebody who had been there. Tone, who was your guy? Who got you started?
Magic.
From 1980 to 1990, who was in the NBA Finals?
Magic until 1990, 9 times.
You seen him.
I'm so spoiled.
Right. And see, Tone, that's what I'm saying. So even if that brand of basketball is awesome, you got used to seeing him, right? Whether he won, whether he lost, you just got used to him being there. And because you got used to him being there, I feel like that's the people that we're looking for, right? Those are the people that the NBA is looking for, because we're so used to seeing these guys. Now we're at a point where the brand of basketball isn't conducive to what people like, and we're not seeing that consistent face. I think I have to agree with you. I do.
So let me look in 2019, because the finals, the NBA finals
in 2019
had 15 point something million. The year before, when it was Cavs and Warriors, was 17 million. But the year of COVID that the Lakers won, right? Because it was 7.7. The next year, Milwaukee Phoenix was 10. 2022 was 12. And Denver Miami in 2023 was 11. So although Toronto Golden State was only 15 million, I guarantee you something that, again, this, because it's not true for the rest of the years. I guarantee if you add in Canada, that 2019 number is higher.
Oh, way higher.
Than the year before. Although there's Canadians who watch the finals every year, I guarantee you when Toronto was in it, there was a spike. So it's never even gotten to that level again. But here's the thing, to your point, I pulled up the numbers. I just gotta find it here. Here we go. Okay. In 2019, because I did not know that, the average, it was 2.67 million for the playoffs on average game, down from 3.17. So I don't know that that's 48%, but maybe it is.
That was the number. That was the number that I got.
NBA playoff average. Oh, that's first round. Okay, I need to get the full playoffs. That's why.
That was the number that I got from the playoffs in 2019.
But again, LeBron was still kind of the face of the league.
He was the draw. He was the draw. And when you again, Tone, when you're talking about why ratings are down and why Gregg Popovich started this. Again, we're talking about what the league was. The league was a league of stars. Tony Parker was one of the stars in the game. Duncan, even though he was on the other side of who he was, I think Coach Popovich he wasn't doing it to intend for it to be what it is now. I don't think he was doing it for that. I think he was honest. No, I don't think he was doing it because, again, we got to remember what he had. He did have aging stars. Remember in 2013, when they were in the NBA Finals, Duncan is in, I believe in 2013, he's in year 16. Tony Parker is in year 12 at that point. Manu Ginobili, I think Manu Ginobili is like 35. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to preserve his guys. So when we get deep into the playoffs, So, but I don't think he intended for it to be what it is, where guys are just sitting out games, which goes back to my original statement to you, Tone. If these guys can go and if these guys can play and you're purposely sitting me out, then that needs to be relayed to the media. I can play tonight. Bless you. I can play tonight. He's sitting me out.
I go back to, they should only get paid for games they play. They should only get that. I'm sorry. I know no one likes that, but when it's that much money, here's the problem. When it's that much money where you have guys getting paid
$300,000 a game,
$500,000 a game,
$250,000 a game.
I'm not going to risk myself, right? Oh, I got a hangnail. I'm going to take the day off because I don't want that to turn into something serious. However, when I have a hangnail and it's like, ooh, it's going to cost me $500,000 if I don't play, you know what? You know what? You're right. I could probably suit up. And I just want to touch on something here very quickly. I believe it's here. But they do load manage in other sports like baseball, and they're doing great. No, baseball's not doing great. Go look at their numbers. They're not. And baseball plays 162 games. So, and they're back to back to back to back to back. So I can understand a baseball player load managing a little bit. It makes sense. When pitchers only pitch every fourth or fifth game anyways, but baseball's not doing great. But when you're in a league that you play almost no back-to-backs, you have private flights all over the place. You can't have it.
You realize in baseball, and it's from opening day is probably the end of March, like the March 30th or like April 1st, something like that, and we go all the way to October, right? And I think the World Series is like the last week of October and maybe spills into the first week of November. So that's what, 6 months, 6, 7. That's like 6, 7 months. Tone, from those 6, 7 months in the baseball season, up to 30 days in the month, we're playing 29 of them on average.
Yeah.
We're playing almost every day.
It's a different dynamic.
We're playing almost every day in baseball. In fact, if you think about what you just said, Tone, they play 162 games. That's double the NBA season.
Yeah.
That's double the NBA season. So, of course, we're going to load manage. If we're doing double the work and we have double the time that we're on the field,
Well,
No.
and you have a position where a guy only plays every 5th game anyways.
On top of that,
So yeah, if I'm playing whatever, if I'm playing center field, I want a day off. Damn right, I want a day off. I
but you
earned
don't
it.
have that, Tone, because we got a 3-game stretch in Cincinnati, and tonight at the 3rd game that we play in Cincinnati on this Thursday, we got to jump on a plane tonight, and we got to go to Chicago, and we got to go play Chicago, the Cubs, and we got to play them 4 games.
And let me just, I don't know. Look, now you're gonna make me look. Who's a superstar baseball player?
Mike Trout.
I think
Well,
he
he
got
hasn't
hurt though.
Yeah, he hasn't played. Otani. Yeah, Otani is a superstar baseball player.
Okay, let's take a look at who did what this year, because listen, maybe I'm correct. I'm just gonna look at the
Dudes play
hits
almost every night.
There you go. I'll look at the hits leaders, and I'm just gonna go down the. I don't even need to. I'm not even gonna say names. I just in order of who had the most hits this season.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the games that were played: 162, and we don't know who was injured, who wasn't hurt, right? 162, 150, 159, 159, 160, 153, 162, 158, 159. If you're in the 159, 160, that's the equivalent of a basketball player playing 80 plus games.
80 games.
So if I guarantee you, if I went through last year, here, let's just do it. NBA stats here. I'm going to look at last year. Who are the leaders in points per game?
Mm-hmm. Who led the league in scoring last year? I think Luka led the league in scoring last year.
Luka led the league in scoring. This is this year. Let me go to last year because the season is up. Okay, so again, the names don't even matter. Here's the leaders in points per game: 70, 73, 75. So you're telling me our guys are missing more games, because that's 10 games, versus baseball players who are missing 2. So no, baseball players aren't load managing. So sorry, let me go back. 70, 73, 75, 77, shout out Jalen Brunson. 75, 68, 74, 74, 74. What's the cutoff for awards? Isn't it 75?
I'm sorry. 15. You got to play 65 games, so that's 17 games.
74, 74, 79, 70, 79, 71, 58. Not one. Where's the first person who played 80 games, the only person that played 80 games, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the top 30 points per game, 2 guys, Banchero and Siakam, the only 2 guys to play 80 games. There's more guys who played games in the 60s than in the 70s, and 2 guys played 80. If I keep going, and again, I'm just using points per games as an example. Jeff Green and Bridges are the only 2 guys that played. Oh, it's a bonus that played 80. That's because of his dad. Played 82 games. 3 guys out of 50. 3 out of 50 of the top. That's in order of points per game. 3 of them played 82 games. 5 out of 50 played 80 or more. So don't tell me that basketball and baseball have this a load management. No,
they don't have the same thing. No, it's not the same thing.
No. Sorry, because for the record, it's double. So we'd have to see how many guys to be in this range. How many guys missed 20 games in baseball of their top players? It's not 20 games. There's not a lot. Again, barring injuries, we take injuries out because there's nothing you can do about injuries. Okay. So before you go any further, Tone, let's address this right here, because Green wants to talk about baseball. I don't know why, but Green wants to talk about baseball. But be clear, this isn't load managing. Pitchers struggle to break 200 innings nowadays. You know why? Because we got a middle relief guy. In addition to having a middle relief guy, we have a closer. We don't have guys pitching 8-9 innings anymore like we did 20 years ago, like we did 15 years ago. That's not true. These guys aren't load managers. That's a style of play where you have a starter, a long reliever, a middle reliever, a setup guy, a closer. That's 5 pitchers out of 9 innings. So it's not the same thing. Whereas before you went 9, and if you couldn't, you probably went 7, and maybe had a setup and a closer. Like that's completely. It's like saying guys today shoot 10 times more threes than guys in the 80s. Yes, that's not because guys in the 80s, I know this is going to hurt some people's feelings. That's not because guys in the 80s couldn't shoot threes. It's because they wasn't the way the game was played.
Right. Exactly.
Or what do you may call it? When Wilt and Russell were averaging 25 rebounds a game, that's because they were missing 100 shots a game. Okay, they sucked. They were shooting 35% from the field. Of course,
and don't leave out the fact, Tone. In addition to missing a bunch of shots, I never came off the floor. I'm averaging like 48
I was averaging 48 minutes a game. Yeah.
I'm playing every minute.
Right.
So
like take every NBA player, make their stats 48 minutes, and watch those numbers shoot through the roof.
Of course. Bill Russell averaged like 45 minutes a game for his career. Something crazy like that.
We want to go into we got the results. The first, I hate this, by the way. I've always said I hate this.
You love it, Tone. Stop, Tone. You love it.
I've always said I hate this. Stupid people voting.
I don't like it. I hate it.
So here we got the first results. The fans. I don't even believe that they're fans. I don't. You know what? I'm going to pause for a second and go on a rant. I don't believe all these people love the NBA like they say they love the NBA. Like, you have a bunch of your friends that do this all the time, and it drives me bonkers. If you love, they defend today's NBA. And just for the record, when I say today's NBA, I'm talking about the last 5 to 7 years, which I've told you is my favorite era because I'm a 3-point shooter. So it's great for me. I love watching it. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm smart enough to say what's happening this year, I think we've crossed the line. That being said,
you're kind of overdoing it, Tone. Is that what you're saying?
Even for me, it's like my arm's getting tired of watching.
This is a long ball shooter right here saying it's like, this might be a little bit much.
I rotator cuff. So you got these guys saying today's NBA is the best. They're the most skilled, the most athletic. But it's the best basketball. Then why the hell are you spending 95% of your day arguing about a 40-year-old man being better than a 60-year-old man who played 25 years ago?
Still doing it.
If you love today's basketball so much, why the hell are you looking for game film from 85 to say, look at this dude miss a game-winning shot? You're spending that much time looking for a missed shot because I thought you loved today's NBA. Why aren't you watching today's NBA? And this proves that you're not watching today's NBA because this is who you voted for the damn All-Star game.
This is pretty impressive.
With all due respect, I know he was great once upon a time. Now, I think Jokic is right. Kevin Durant, you know how I feel about Durant, but okay. LeBron, really? LeBron should be a starter? Yes. He's played? Yes. No. Not because of what he's done.
That's why, for that reason right there.
For how he's playing right now, should he be a starter? No, okay.
I'm not. Wait a minute. Should he be a starter? Because remember what the All-Star game is, Tone. The All-Star game is for the fans. The All-Star game is not. I'm going to say this one more time for the people in the cheap seats. The All-Star game is not indicative of you just being a great player. It's for the fans and who they want to see. Now, the fans kind of went over the top when they started voting.
Anthony Davis?
Yeah, well, Anthony Davis is definitely having an all-pro season, and he's having an all-star. 100%. Sengun is also. Now, remember that they had to take.
Andrew Wiggins?
Yeah, well, and why Andrew Wiggins? Andrew Wiggins, because he plays for the Warriors. That was not going on when he was in Minnesota. I'm still having a problem with the guards, and Darius Garland is not on this list at all.
I was gonna get there. So the guards, we got SGA, Luka, Steph, Kyrie, Anthony Edwards, James Harden. I don't know. Actually, maybe Ja. James Harden over Ja, though. Who would you rather see in an All-Star game?
Ja.
Giannis.
Actually, none of these dudes, to be honest with you, because they're not gonna compete. But I mean, Ja already told us
another problem we're gonna get into. All right, so Darius Garland, for you, we're gonna jump right to the East. You got LaMelo, Mitchell, Lillard, Brunson, Young, Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Maxey. Really, you got 3 Philadelphia 76ers up there. 3 of them.
Yep. I just want to know when. I'd like to know in my lifetime, when you got voted as a starter in the All-Star game. I'm trying to remember the last time that a guy who was voted as a starter. I remember Charles got voted as a starter in '92 in the All-Star game, and Philly was awful. They were a bad team. LaMelo Ball he's voted as a starter. As if the votes ended today, he's starting in the All-Star game. I think Charlotte is next to last in the Eastern Conference. I think they're the worst. So, I mean, it did have something to do with being on a winning team, but it's what the fans want. The fans want to see LaMelo Ball. The fans want to see Giannis Antetokounmpo. They want to see Jason Tatum. They want to see Anthony Davis. That's what the fans want to see. And you got to give the fans what they want. Now, there's a difference now, Tone.
Respectfully to LaMelo Ball, when your team's 7-25, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be starting.
They're at the bottom of the East. 100%. They are. Now, again, when we're talking about these guys starting in the All-Star game, right? And we talking about these guys starting in the All-Star game, with the fan votes, the NBA had to do something about this because they're voting on Grant Hill, and he's played 3 games. They're voting on Penny Hardaway, and Penny played 18 games. They're like, okay,
fans don't watch basketball.
Yeah, we got to stop this. We can't keep doing this.
That just proves my point. That just proves it's what the fans want, but the fans don't watch basketball. I'm sorry, fans don't. Y'all lie. Y'all lie. You watch highlights, and you voted based on highlights. And you know what? Well, fine. That's what the All-Star game is for. Then okay, that's what you're gonna get.
And that's what Tone. I think what we have to accept is that that's what the All-Star game has become. The All-Star game isn't the 1993 All-Star game with Jordan and Drex and Isaiah Thomas and guys that are really gonna. No, the All-Star game is now 188 to 175, and the halftime score is 95 to 90. That's the halftime score, and then we're just going to let guys run past each other. That's what the All-Star game is today. But people want to see change, only except they still, 1, voting for the same guys, because that's what the game is today, and 2, voting for the same style of play, because that's what the game has become today. So there's really nothing, there's nothing else that we really could do about it until we get a face of the league and get a different crop of guys in here.
The All-Star game and the All-Star festivities used to mean something, right? Like you had the best players in the dunk off. You had the best players in the 3-point shootout. You had the best players trying to win in the All-Star game. And now you have G League call-ups winning the dunk off. You got, no offense, she did great, WNBA players in the 3-point shootout because you need to do something to get people to watch that.
Sure.
And you've got no one playing in the All-Star game. Meaning, when I say playing, I mean
competing.
Like competing. Yes, competing. Sure. The better word for that, right? Like we've said this. They play harder during like summer pickup when they like hang out.
Right, when they're trying to improve their game. But in the All-Star game, why should I play? Because I might get hurt. You can get hurt you can get hurt working out. Klay Thompson tore up his Achilles working out. Just so you guys know.
Damian Lillard has ruined his career. People don't even talk about this enough. Do you know how he hurt I believe it was his ribs that he's never actually healed from? He was boxing, and that move of making that hook, he twisted, and that's how he messed up his ribs, and he's never been really the same since. So he was just hitting the heavy bag. So what are we talking about?
Something that simple, Raul. Something really does. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate here, Tone, for a second, because I know how you feel about this, but I'm going to play devil's advocate. Sabrina and Steph Curry in the long ball contest. I thought that was great for the game.
I loved it. Don't get me wrong.
So but what I want to do, Tone, is I want to expand that a little bit.
Sure.
Because what we're doing is we're trying to get some excitement back into All-Star Weekend. So, Tone, how do you feel about Kelsey Plum in the skills competition?
How do I feel about Asia Wilson, who says she could beat Josh Hart playing one-on-one and getting smoked, and so that people will leave Jeff Teague alone? How do I feel about that? I love it. I love it. I love it. Because not only would she lose, she would get destroyed. Let me bring it up for you again, because people are attacking Jeff Teague because he's been getting canceled, I guess. I thought they stopped doing that, but apparently it's back. Because he said she's not beating a G League player. She's not.
I remember I did a post, and our friend Trista Crick, she had said, what is a fact that delusional NBA fans will not accept? And I said that you have no idea how good these NBA players are. As good as Asia Wilson is, as good as Asia Wilson is, Trey Mann is on the Charlotte Hornets. They're one of the worst teams in the league. They're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference.
Mhm.
Trey Mann is a rotation player. He would destroy Asia Wilson. I don't think that he would destroy her. The example that I always bring up, and I will die on this hill, Tone, in 2001, the UConn women's basketball team went undefeated with Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi. Tone, my senior year in high school, that team, we would have destroyed them. We would have stomped that UConn team. I don't think we would have beat them. We would have destroyed them.
People think it's like a misogynistic
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
And I say, look at the Olympics. Take the top 100 100-meter runners, and they all have faster times than the fastest woman. Look at the high jumpers. The top 100 have jumped higher than the top 100 have all jumped higher than the number one female athlete. That's not knocking a female athlete. It's statistically just a fact. Asia Wilson is a 6'4" center in the WNBA.
She is
an unathletic.
She's awesome, by the way. She's
phenomenal. And I watch. I've told you, I watch that WNBA. I love the WNBA. I have the kids on the team that I coach. I force them because at first they were like, I don't want to watch girls. I'm like, no, you're going to watch these women because they know how to play, and you're going to learn because fundamentally, a lot of them are more fundamentally sound than the men, because the men a lot of times get away with athleticism.
Sure.
So she's a power forward, center, whatever, at 6'4", but by NBA standards, she is a super unathletic NBA player. If she was 6'4", she would not make an NBA roster as a power forward or a center. She'd have to be a guard. And what do you do with guards who can't shoot, can't dribble, can't run, can't jump? In comparison, can't be on the team.
You can't.
So what do you think her at 6'4" is going to do against 6'4" Ant?
She's not going to do anything, and I think Ant is even a bit of a stretch, Tone. Like,
I used a height comparison,
right? So let's take a let's. I don't even want to talk about. I don't even want to talk about like players that good.
Bronny James.
Yes, let's go there, right? Let's go to less than players. If they're being honest and they're looking you in the face and they're treating you not like a woman, they're treating you like a basketball player. I think that there's plenty of players. I think all of the players in the NBA would destroy Asia Wilson. And Asia Wilson is not a good player. She's not a great player. She is
the best.
Fantastic. This woman is incredible.
She is the best WNBA player I think that I've seen.
She might be the best ever, Tone. She might be the best ever.
And I've watched Cheryl Swoops and Lisa Leslie and Candace Parker and
Candace Parker, all of these women. She might be the best.
She might be the best of the best. And it's just like, I just feel like every time we have these conversations and you have a Griner saying she could beat DeMarcus Cousins and an Asia Wilson saying she could beat Josh Hart, it's like, stop it. You're making your game worse, because the second you do that, then the people who compare the WNBA to the NBA start going, oh, okay, well, you want to compare the two. And then that's where this happens. And then people stop watching. It's literally, it's called basketball. It's a completely different game, and accept it for what it is and enjoy it for what it is. Like I said, I love it.
Yes.
But there's but I'm sorry, you take who won last year?
The WNBA championship?
Yeah.
Oh, Liberty.
The New York, right. You take the New York Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
You put them in a game against who was the 100th ranked college team last year? I don't even know.
100 ranked college team. I to be honest with you, Tony, I don't know. But you know what I'll do? I'll give you a mid-major team. So a team in the Mountain West Conference. San Diego State would stomp them.
100%. I don't even know who's on that team.
San Diego State would stomp them. 100% they would. And it's as good as Sabrina Ionescu is, as good as their big girl is.
I always say her name wrong too. That's good. Keep going.
As good as she is, there's some physical limitations that the WNBA team has. Your game is different, completely different. And overall, you just don't have the personnel to be able to handle that. You don't. You do not have the personnel to be able to handle that. Unfortunately, that's why I wouldn't even consider it. That's why I don't like having this conversation, Tone. And the reason why is because when people hear this, they think, "Oh, you don't like women's basketball. You're misogynistic. You're a chauvinistic pig." No, actually, I'm not. In fact, I've become a lot more understanding of women and even more of a fan of women's basketball over the years than I did in the past. I can tell you right now, I saw Maya Moore, and I thought to myself, yo, she looked like she had a lot to deal with. I don't know if I could cover her by myself. But if I had to, I would deal with Maya Moore. I would 100% deal with Maya Moore. 100% I would.
There's, again, like I said, I watch it. I've done shows with some of you may know or may not. Coach Val Whiting, who played in the WNBA and in Europe, and she was going to come jump on our show every once in a while, but she's in Seattle, so the timing kind of sucks but whatever. But like, it's no disrespect at all. Like I say, I use WNBA footage to teach basketball, so there's no disrespect at all. But they're not. Comparing them makes it terrible. And when their stars say stuff like this, it makes it harder to defend. Because people are like, they bring up like that soccer team, right? The US soccer team losing to 13-year-old boys or something. Like, you can't. Like, it's not the same.
The 100th ranked college basketball team in the country is Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech would stomp. They would smoke the Liberty. Georgia Tech is in the ACC. What Georgia Tech, who they go up against, I mean, they would smoke the Liberty. No doubt. And Tone, you can actually take it. You can take it a step further than that and go with the 150th, like the 150th team in the country, Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They would beat them. Yes, they would. Duquesne, George Washington.
And let's be clear. Does that mean there's no woman in the world that would beat any man in the world? No, we're not saying that. We're saying you can't, when you're talking about, like, she's going after Josh Hart. Josh Hart, as a 6'4" guard, is out rebounding NBA players.
He had a triple-double last night, though.
You don't think he's gonna give you the work? Like, stop
he had
it.
A triple-double last night, though. That's what put that out there. He had and not only did he have a triple-double, I'm sorry, Miss Wilson, but not only did Josh Hart have a triple-double last night, he had a triple-double against a front line of Lauri Markkanen, who's 7 feet, and Walker Kessler, who's 7 feet. He pulled down 13 rebounds last night against those guys. You, who are inferior to him physically, what do you think he would do to you? What do you think Josh Hart would do to you when he's grabbing 13, 14 rebounds against Joel Embiid in the playoffs? When he's pulling down rebounds against that Philadelphia front line, and he's playing the way he's playing against them. I'm just trying to make sense, but to make this out to be what it is, like this right here, it just doesn't. But no. He's getting 0 rebounds against Brittany Griner, but he can rebound against Joel Embiid.
Yeah,
he can rebound against Lauri Markkanen. He can rebound against Walker Kessler, right? He can rebound against KP for the Boston Celtics.
You know what it is? Do you know what the problem is? It's people watching. You know what the problem is? It's two things. People watching on TV, and they're watching and they're like, oh, that's so easy. I could do that. It's like when you're watching football and you're like, oh, look, especially when it's your fantasy guy. Oh, damn, he was wide open. Why didn't he see that? Well, because you have about 2 seconds to scan the entire field with like 7 300-pounders running 4-4s at you, and you want him to see where everybody is and predict and throw. Like, you stop. It's not the same as watching on TV. And the other thing is too, it's they see how someone plays again. Like, okay, here's a great example. I'm not picking. I just praised Bronny because I know everyone's going to attack me. They see Bronny putting up 15 in the G League, and they're like, "Oh, see, he's amazing." No, he's playing against G Leaguers. And there's guys averaging 25, 20, like he's averaging 0.3 points, 0.3 assists, and 0.4 rebounds in the NBA. That's who he is in the NBA. But it looks easy when you're playing in the G League, but it's not the NBA. It's
that's
not
his level, though. That's why, because that's his level.
Well, yeah, that's the level he should be playing. Of course.
Right. That's his level right now.
But they see Asia Wilson, who I've just said is maybe the greatest women's basketball player I've ever seen. And they see her dominate the women, and they're like, "Oh, she could do that against the guy." No, it's not the same. It's not the same.
You just said it yourself, Tony. You brought up a really good example. How many seconds do I have, Tone? Once the ball is hiked,
2 seconds.
Like, think about that. 2 seconds. 1001, 1002. That's like that. That's how much time I have.
Those guys on the couch probably couldn't even do a 7-step drop in that 2 seconds.
No, they can't. 100% they can't. No, absolutely they cannot. So
can I just real quick? Because this is y'all being disingenuous. Take a girl and raise her up playing guys. It'll look different. It won't.
No, it won't. No, it won't. Because these women were raised playing against dudes. You think they all played against Angel Wilson played against dudes. Yes, she did. Brittany Griner played against dudes.
Caitlin Clark was getting university offers in the 7th grade because she was playing against college players and high school players in the 7th grade and boys. Yep. And that's why maybe she's so good in compared to the other women. But Venus, and I'm sorry if I don't remember if it's Venus or Serena, I don't remember. But Venus or Serena was asked about playing tennis. And clearly, I think it was Venus. Who's the better of the two? Serena. Is it Venus? Is it Serena? Okay, so it was Serena because it was the one that was better. And she was the number 1 ranked women tennis player at the time. And they're like, "You're the greatest tennis player ever." And it was Serena. Okay, thank you, Serena. And she said, "How would you do against,
Federer? He would wipe the floor with her."
He would wipe the floor with me. I couldn't
wipe the floor with her.
He said, "I couldn't beat the 100th ranked men's player. It's a different game. They serve at like 90 miles and 100 miles an hour. It's a different game. I'd lose 6-0, 6-0, right? Like
she would get the floor wiped with her if she went up against Federer. He would destroy her.
At least she's being honest. It's not a bad thing to be honest. So that's why I just think like again, there was that girl. Remember a couple of weeks ago, I showed you the video clip of the girl saying who would win. She was a high school kid, and she was like her aunt, and she's like, "Who gets the ball first?" Oh, it would be me, 11-6 or something. I'm like, what?
I'm watching me and my brother. I'll never forget this, Tone. Me and my brother were actually watching.
Loner. There's no chance, Loner.
We were watching a tennis match, and my brother, exactly what you just said, he has a tendency to see things on TV and think that it's easy. And we're watching tennis, and we're watching Serena, and watching her serve, and he was like, "Yo, I can do that." And I said, "Yo, she would wipe the floor with you." Wipe the floor with you. Yes. Why? Because she's a professional.
Yeah, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about on the couch. I'm talking about against another professional.
You've never done this before. Yes. This is what she does. She's a professional. She would wipe the floor with you. Same logic when we're talking about men and women at that level. Same logic. So a woman as good as Asia Wilson is, as good as you are, Miss Wilson, and I don't think that you're a good player. I don't think you're a great player. I think that you are. I think you're the best, and I don't think that there's a question. But if you went up against the Portland Trail Blazers, have a guy on their team that's in their rotation named Anthony Simons, he would destroy you. Anthony Simons would eat your lunch.
Being disrespectful. It's not.
It is not. It is not. He would absolutely eat your lunch. He would destroy you, no doubt. So when we have these conversations, what they do is when we have these conversations, what they do is they make us seem like we are misogynistic, we're chauvinistic pigs, when in reality, it's dangerous because we live in such a sensitive society as we did before we did in the past. We just to be honest with you, Tony, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
And that's why I use the Olympics as the example. And I just say the 100th ranked sprinter has a time that's faster than the number 1 ranked woman. So that's I just speak in, that's just black and white figures, numbers when I say black and white. There you go. It's just You can't argue it. The 100th ranked high jumper is better than the number 1 ranked female high jumper. So, that's just how it is. And and that's the part that bothers me, is that we've gotten to the point in society where we've lost reality. We don't care what the truth is because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings, right? Like, the truth is, like, that's it. Like, the truth is this. It's not me. Like, I tell my son all the time, the truth is this, right? You're not making the NBA. That's the truth. Now, you want to play basketball your whole life and there's a million things you can do. You're probably not making the NBA. You're not. Now, if you're that 1 in a million shot, cool. Work hard for it. But let's make sure you get an education.
More times than not, you're probably not going to do it.
Unless you're 7 feet tall. Because one in 10 7-footers make the NBA. 1 in 10. So those odds are actually, even though, but
I like those odds way better.
Those are pretty good.
I like those odds way better.
The odds of making the NBA you're better. You have better odds of being struck by lightning twice.
Not once, Tone.
Not once.
Twice.
2 times.
Incredible. Like the world record for the 100-yard dash is Usain Bolt. He ran it at a 9.58. You can't run that fast. You can't. I don't care how fast you run as a woman. I think the world record this year for the 100 is 10.5. That's almost a second. Now, I don't know.
10.49. 10.49.
Okay, 10.49. That was this year. And I think the winner this year, if I'm not mistaken, I think the winner this year, that was in 20 that was in 22. Not this year, I'm sorry. It was in 21. The fastest time, 22, I'm sorry, was 9.79. 9.79.
Did I say was the women's record?
10.4, Tone. 10.49.
10.49.
10.5.
10.49. Hold on. I'm at number. Hold on. Let me tell you.
Yep.
I'm at the 181st ranked. It's a tie. Hold on. So let me get to the next number because there's a long. Okay, here we go. I'm at number 276 in the men's, and I'm still only at 10.03.
So we're getting close to 300.
At 389, 10.07. At 467, 10.09. At 545, 10.11. At 667, I'm at 10.13. At 772 ranked, shout out to Canada, Jared Cottonton, 10.15. I don't think I'm ever going to get to 10.49 here, my friend.
Listen to what you just said, Tone. Before you go any further, stop. Where are we right now, Tone? 10.1.
I just stopped at 10.17.
Okay, where are we now?
894th ranked.
We're getting close to 1,000. We're getting close to 1,000 runners, and we're not close to 10.5.
Hold on. I finally got to it. Hold on. Wait a minute. Is 10.49 the world record?
Yes.
That's the world record. Okay, so let me get to how many men this year, not total, this year ran faster than 10.49. I'm in page 92. I'm on page, not rank, page 92.
This is incredible.
Hold on. I'm getting close. I want to do this. I want to be fair, and I don't want to misrepresent nobody.
Right.
Here we go. I'm at 10. Oh, I went too far. I went to 10.5. Here we go. All right. So 10.49. So the women's world record is 10.49. There are.
This is incredible, man.
Bear with me. And this is indicative of all of this stuff. That's why I say it's crazy that we're having this conversation and we're going to end it now. Okay, so there's 8,075 men. 8,075 men this year.
Just today.
This year that have a 10.49 or faster. This year. The women's world record is 10.49, and there are 8,075 this year men
at that level
that have run that fast or faster.
So at that level, because
At
I can't run a
10.49
I can't run a 10.5, but I'm pretty confident, Miss Richardson, when I was 25 years old, when I was 22, I could probably run a 10.5. I think I could do it. I was a really good athlete. And if I practiced, I could probably run a 10.5.
I ran lead off in the 4x1 relay. I
probably could.
But even still, that's in high school. I was probably maybe 11. But
I think I could do it.
Is this year alone, this year alone, there's 8,075 men who competed and ran. Because don't forget, there's other people who can do it. Like that guy, what's that guy, Speed? That YouTuber guy my son watches all the time, Speed. He can do it. So there's 8,075 men this year who broke or tied the 10.49 or better, the women's all-time record. So when we say it's not the same, it's not being mean. It's just 8,075. I didn't think the number was that high. I'll be honest.
And again, I can't reiterate this enough about A'ja Wilson, that she is a excellent basketball player. She is not good.
No,
she is
like
excellent.
I think she might be the best I've ever seen.
100%. But there's a difference when we're talking about men and we're talking about women. And I don't like doing this because it discredits, and because the masses will make it sound like we're discrediting, right? we're discrediting a woman. So, and I'm not discrediting A'ja Wilson. I'm just saying at the level that she's at, when we're talking about being the best female basketball player in the world, she is not close to the best male basketball player in the world. She's not. Joker would destroy her. Giannis would eat her lunch. He would destroy her.
I just like I said, I think drawing those comparisons makes it harder for a game that's already making every possible mistake, like every possible mistake it can, to get more viewership. This is the last thing you need. Like, I wish they'd never let me do it. I wish you let me run the WNBA for 3 years, because not only would I make them more money than they've ever imagined, I'd make them profitable, because at this point they're still not even they made $500,000 and they're still not profit, or whatever the hell they made. They're still not profitable. 500 million, whatever the hell it was, and they're still not profitable.
500 million, Tone?
Whatever it is, I don't know.
And they still is in the and they still in the red.
They still, yeah, and they're still in the red. Like,
well, that's what happens when you, to your point, and you've already mentioned this to me. That's what happens when you've been around for over 25 years and you've made these many dollars as a business. And
you've done that many right decisions, right? Like, I hate to say it, but even the whole thing with Reebok, and this isn't a slam against Angel Reese, but you're picking Reebok and Angel Reese because that's the narrative, and you're choosing narrative over business, over profits. And I sound like a jerk when I say this, but I'm never picking a person, a narrative, an agenda over profits if I'm a business. I am not putting Dennis Rodman on the cover of the magazine. I'm putting Larry Bird. I'm putting Steph Curry. I'm not putting Draymond Green. Sorry, that's dumb business. Dumb. And listen, and Angel Reese, you're right. You're absolutely right about Angel, but that's not the demographic. 55% of the WNBA viewership is men.
That's more than half.
And
more than half.
And half of those are white men.
Yeah.
Like, no, now you want to build up, because it should be more women. I'm actually a little disappointed when I found that out, by the way.
You would think that, wouldn't you?
I was really disappointed, because I get yelled at from women all the time saying, why don't you talk more about the WNBA? And I'm like, how many games have you watched?
0.
So I'm
you
like,
don't care.
I was like
you
40.
Don't care.
I watch 40 or 50 a year. You watch 0. You're yelling at me.
Right.
I'm going to be a season ticket holder when the Toronto. I hate the name. When the Toronto Tempo come in, I'm going to be a season ticket holder.
You're going to watch the games.
I'm going. I'll be there.
Yes.
Second row. I can't afford first row. Second row. I'll be there. Second row.
I'm coming up to Toronto this summer. I'm coming up to Toronto this summer.
You better. You keep saying you're going to come.
No, I'm coming up to Toronto this summer, Tone. I'm coming up to Toronto. I'm asking management if so I can get a couple of days off. I'm coming up to Toronto this summer.
I had a nice conversation with management.
I gotta renew my passport. So I'm coming up to Toronto this summer, and I'm coming to catch a WNBA game. So we're gonna.
I don't know. No, they're not there yet. They're not. I don't think they'll be playing until this following year.
So not the summer of 2025, the summer of 2026.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You should ask them for some load management. Everybody else is doing it.
I might ask for a couple of days off because I feel like I gotta get up to Toronto. I've been telling you that for however long I've been telling you that, and
I grew up there. Shout out. All right, we have so much. Oh wait, I know what I want to talk about. This was not on your agenda, or was it on your agenda? No, it wasn't.
No.
But I want to ask you something. The Phoenix Suns.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a little birdie told me that the Phoenix Suns were looking to make a trade that centered around Bradley Beal for Jimmy Butler.
Tone, if I'm being honest with you, since we are being honest, I ain't helping them out at all. I'm not. This is your mess. You are the ones who put this thing together, and you put this thing together in the short term. This is your fault. And I've always been one to, point the finger in this direction where, I screwed this up. If I think about what these guys have been over the last 2 years now. So both Bradley Beal and Devin Booker both play the same position. We were having conversations a couple of years ago about who's the best two guard in the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Jordan and Drex on the same team. No, that's not going to work. In addition to putting Jordan and Drex on the same team, I'm going to put Jordan and Drex on the same team with Scottie Pippen. Older, by the way. Like, I ain't getting these dudes in their prime. I'm getting older Scottie Pippen. I'm getting Devin Booker, and I'm getting a broken down Drex. That's what I'm getting. And you guys expect this to work? No. And on top of that, you're getting an insane amount of money, which means that these contracts are ridiculous to move because Bradley Beal has a no trade clause in his contract. So anytime anybody calls, yes, he has a no trade clause in his contract. So anytime anybody calls, what has to happen is he's got to give the thumbs up and go, okay, I'm moving to Portland. Okay, I'm moving to Minnesota. Okay, I'm moving to Toronto. He has to give the thumbs up to do that. Because if he doesn't, no matter what kind of trade package you put together, unless he says okay to it, it's not happening because he's got a no trade clause in his contract. That's why. So with that being said, you guys put this crew together and you put this crew together to win the NBA championship. It was a disaster to start when you first got KD. KD had only played 8 regular season games. He was hurt going into the playoffs, and you guys flamed out. And then the next year, the very next year, which was last year, you got swept out the playoffs. You got swept. I don't want to hear this, Tone. I don't with this Phoenix team. This thing has been, when I said that the Phoenix Suns are going to finish, I got them 9th. I had them 9th in the Western Conference before the season started. I'm a hater. I don't know basketball. I don't like KD. I don't know what I'm talking about. I had them as a play-in team. They started off the season sharp, and we're now in the dog days of the season. Tone, what I did was I went and did some homework, and I'm a homework guy, Tone, and I know how you feel about the numbers because you're a business guy. Tone, the dog days of the season are between the end of December to right up until close to the All-Star break. And I did some homework, and I found out that over the last 10 years, the best teams during that time, right? The best teams during that time are teams who end up either in the East Finals or in the NBA championship. The best teams from the end of December to the All-Star break, go look them up, are teams that end up in the East Finals, West Finals, or the NBA championship.
Interesting.
We're talking about the dog because if you remember, coaches always talk about this time of year. This is the redundancy season. You know, you're in January in the middle of Milwaukee. You're in Milwaukee in the middle of January, and you're like, oh, we got to go to Toronto, and it's January the 3rd. You know, we got to go to Charlotte, and it's February the 2nd, and it's a long season. So the teams that are the most focused and that do the best during this stretch are the teams that we're going to see at the end of the season.
That's interesting. I did not know that. Well, then they should make this trade, because here's what they look like when all three of these guys are playing together. They've only played 197 minutes, mind you. They are 24th in terms of offensive rating, 20th defensive rating, and they have a minus 4.3 net rating, which is 24th in the NBA.
Looks like they should play less together than Tom. If they play, if they
playing
like this,
play none together, because it's significantly better when one misses time. To your point, because there's a redundancy here, right? What do we got? A scorer, and a scorer.
And
what did we say? How do teams win? With a superstar who is your lead scorer, a secondary off-ball scorer, and a defensive stopper. And then
which none of these three guys are not that.
You do not have that here. You gave the scenario of Jordan, Drexler, and whoever, and I'm like, I think Jordan and Drexler, with Jordan playing the point, would have been more efficient than these three, because at least I saw him play the point, and he did okay. It actually probably helped him not shooting so much. Excuse me. So how do you feel about this? So is it time? So the thing is it time? The question is it time to pull the plug on this? The
plug should have never been plugged in, Tone. That's number one. Because if you remember, if first of all, Devin Booker is the only guy left from that team that went to the finals in 21. Everybody else is gone. Nobody else is left on that team that was in the NBA finals in 21. And I don't think, in my estimation, that they were that far away, even though they had gotten destroyed in that game 7 against Dallas. I do think that there was some things that could have, I think that there was some different things that could have been done, maybe upgrade at the point guard spot, because Chris Paul was getting a little long in the tooth. I know how you feel about DeAndre Ayton. I feel like DeAndre Ayton, maybe you could have demanded that he got better. I think with him getting traded, I think that that's shown a light on who he really was. And he wasn't the guy that really cared as much as I think about winning. But that was a really good team. To lose Mikal Bridges, to lose DeAndre Ayton, to lose Chris Paul, to lose all of these guys in a matter of a year and a half.
And that team, though, but that team followed the. Let me say good night to my princess first.
Hello, dear.
Good night.
Hello, dear.
Night and goodbye.
Good night and goodbye.
See you later.
You can open that. It's easier to get out. There you go. Okay. That team was built in the right way, though. You had a facilitator. You had a scorer. You had a reluctant rebounder, big man, and you had those role players who were in specifically defenders, right? Those defensive guys. That's why they made the NBA final. Now, tweak that team, sure, but blowing it up and saying, "Oh, we're going to be a super team with all these dudes," that doesn't work. It doesn't, and you're not going to catch lightning in a bottle, because even when it does work, we've said this, even when it does work, it works for a very short time. And in Phoenix, listen, you don't have the history of saying, "Yeah, we've done this before. We know how to do it."
You have none of that. No, you don't.
If you're the Lakers, I'm not saying this because I'm a Laker fan, but if you're the Lakers, we know that we bring in a superstar and then a couple more come and want to join him, and we can build a team.
You got some history.
Yeah, we can win a couple.
Got some history doing this.
Then when that falters, we take a few years where we stink and we do it again. We've done that consistently since we were in Minneapolis. So there's a history. That's not Phoenix. That's not Phoenix. So,
no, it isn't.
You got to do it a different way. That's why when I look at, I hate to, the Raptors, when they got rid of everybody and put all their chips into Scotty Barnes, I'm like, this ain't gonna go well. And I told you, this ain't gonna go well. And I said to you, Masai Ujiri ain't as smart as he thinks he is. Well, look who's more fluent now, my friend, because it ain't going well.
No, it's not. It is not. And the way that this team was put together, the most important thing a lot of people don't want to talk about this, which is the business part of this. You're ridiculously cash strapped now. You're cash strapped now.
Yes. Well, that's what happened.
Ridiculously
Isn't the
cash
GM his dad or something? Like Beal's dad, or isn't it like
the GM is the dad of Beal's agent. That's his father.
the dad of his agent?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
even worse.
Something to that effect. Where
So to be clear, the GM pays a huge or takes on a huge contract from Beal or Beal. Beal pays a percentage to his agent. Who's his son? Oh, that worked out real well.
Keep it in the family. Absolutely. 100%. Keep it in the
Worse
family.
that's worse than the 55th pick. All right. Okay, so that's where it's not working. Let's talk a second about where it is working. At least for now. So the Buffalo Braves are going to falter. They're not going to do anything in the playoffs. But right now, look, can I sidetrack for a second to tell you so funny? My son and I were playing 2K, and when we're just like playing one game, we randomize a team, and you pick their all-time team. So I ended up with the Clips, and so you get to edit their uniforms. So I'm scrolling through all the different uniforms, and I find the Buffalo Braves, and I'm like, "Yep, that's what I'm." And they were like an ugly brown with like a yellows. They were ugly uniforms. But yeah, I played as the Buffalo Browns. So let's talk. I want to go. Where do I want to go? What did I say? Oh, where it is working. Yes, we're talking about the paper clips. No, we're not. We're talking about the paper clips. I'm sorry. We're going to the Denver Nuggets.
The Rich Creamies.
Yes, the Denver Nuggets. Do you know? Hold on a minute. Trivia time. Are you ready for trivia time?
Yep.
All right, here we go. The question is this.
I'm a human, you assuming I'm a human. What I gotta do to get it through to you? I'm superhuman, innovative, and I made a rubber, so that anything.
The first NBA game was played when and by who?
The first NBA game. I believe the first NBA game was played, and for the record, guys, I was not there. So let's be clear about that right now. I was not there. But the first NBA game was played between Toronto and the New York Knickerbockers. I think it was played in 1947. They know.
Incorrect.
No.
Incorrect. And you know why it's incorrect? Because everyone says technically that was the first NBA game. However,
that was the BAA.
That was the BAA.
It wasn't the NBA.
It wasn't the NBA yet. The NBA didn't happen until 3 years later when the BAA merged with the NBL, which would have made the first game October 29th, 1949, between the Tri-City Blackhawks and the Denver Nuggets.
How about that? Why didn't I think of that, considering we're about to talk about the Denver Nuggets?
And that's why I said NBA. I tried to give you a hint. I was like NBA. And Tri-City won that game, by the way, 92-85. October 29th, 1949. I wasn't there. How
about I give you even some more trivia, Tone? Did you know that Bob Cousy was drafted by Tri-City? He wasn't drafted by the Celtics.
Yes, I did know that. And they did not like him. And they were just like, we don't know what to do with him. They ship him off to Boston. Boston doesn't want him. And then he ends up becoming one of their, like, the best their point guard, like, which is crazy because he was too flashy.
Bob Cousy's still alive, just so you guys know, ladies and gentlemen. He's like 94, 95.
What's he, like 132? Like,
he's still alive, by the way.
You gotta get him on the show. I'm gonna call him up.
So we can get Bob Cousy in here. Hey, Coos.
Russell Westbrook over the last 9 games. Speaking of the Denver Nuggets, we all gave up on Russ. 15.2 points per game, 7.4 assists per game, 6 rebounds, 1.9 steals over the last 9 games. Who is this guy? I thought he was done.
This is a guy who was handpicked by Joker. Joker requested him. Hey guys, that guy that the Clippers are treating like trash and don't want anymore, send him over here. And he comes over to the lake. He comes over from the Clippers, and this thing is working, Tone. And the reason why it's working is because you got a big who is a willing passer, who's willing to come off the basketball, and you got a lead guard who is also a willing passer, who actually is really good in the pick and roll and the pick and dive, and he's not asked to do as much as he did in the past, which eliminates a lot of mistakes from Russell Westbrook. So if you're playing him 25, 26 minutes and you're asking him to do specific things like what he's doing, play hard, he gets on the ground for loose balls. Not only does he get on the ground for loose balls, he doesn't turn the basketball over. He literally just had a game where he had 0 turnovers and a triple-double. I think that's one of the 3 or 4 perfect triple-double games in NBA history. He did that. So in addition to that, this dynamic between him and Joker, what it reminds me of, and I don't really want to put Joker in the same breath with Anthony Davis, but the way Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves, that thing works. They got a dynamic where those two guys are on the same page. I like the way that those two guys just connect with each other and coexist. The same thing is going on with both Joker and Russell Westbrook. When Joker dives to the rim, Russell Westbrook is looking for him. Russell Westbrook doesn't take ill-advised shots. And the reason why he doesn't take ill-advised shots, because playing with Joker, he gets a lot of good shots. So he doesn't have to throw grenades where the shot clock is running out. The offense runs through Joker. We got. I think the Denver Nuggets are at the top of the league in points in the paint and at the rim, because you got a lot of guys cutting to the basket. Tone, if you're going to cut to the basket, I mean, you're going to cut to the basket when you know you're going to get the ball. Russ playing off the ball with Joker knows that he's going to get the ball going to the rim, and that's the same logic with both Joker and Russ. Joker knows playing with Russ, him diving to the basket, he's going to get the ball, and that 2-man game between those two guys, it just seems to work, and I really like it. I do.
Do you think they can keep it going to the point where the Denver Nuggets are going to be a NBA title contender?
Yes, not off the strength of Russ, because I feel like that they have enough to protect Russ. What I mean when I say protect Russ, they got guys who in Jamal Murray are playing better. So I can use Russ in spaces where he can give me a lift. He can be an energy guy when Jamal Murray isn't playing well. But Jamal Murray has been playing well of late. So I can use Russ in those spaces when he's not playing well, and he can give me a lift. But on the flip side to that, it's very much like I told you when we talked about the Milwaukee Bucks. When you got the best player in the league, I feel like you have a chance going into the playoffs. When you have the best player in the game, and I think the Denver Nuggets have the best player in the game, and off that alone, he just makes everybody else around him better. So I would give them, especially the way Russ is playing right now, especially the way Jamal Murray has been playing as of late, I do give them a chance.
Best player in the game? I thought you said Giannis was the best player in the game.
I said that Giannis was now in the conversation for best player in the game. I always felt like Joker was the best player in the game. I know how you feel about him, Tony. He's your countryman. Yes, I get it. No doubt about that. But I've always felt like Joker was the best player in the game. Always.
He had a game where he had 23 points, 17 rebounds, 15 assists, 50% shooting, 100% from 3, 100% from 3. Only 29 minutes, by the way. I think you said that, but I don't think you mentioned the 29 minutes.
Yes, only 29 minutes. Yes,
that's a pretty good game.
In less than 30 minutes, he did that. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this, Tone, was because I wanted to ask the question, because we're watching this in real time, right? We see this right now, and we get to see Joker as much as we get to see Joker. I think on average, we get to see Joker 2-3 nights a week. I was lucky to see Barkley like once or twice a week. Once, because again, they played on CBS. And I'm talking about Barkley in his prime. I ain't even talking about Barkley when he first got to Philly. I'm talking about Barkley in his prime. Same thing with Doc.
When he had hair.
Yeah, I'm talking about Jordan. Like I didn't get to see those guys nearly as much as I would have liked to have seen those guys. So I'm asking the question: if we could have seen those guys more, as much as we see Joker, as much as we see Giannis, would we be talking about Olajuwon? Would we be talking about Barkley the way we talk about Joker? Because, Tone, there were 40 and 20 games going on with Barkley. There were 35 and 17 games going on with Barkley. 20 and 20 games going on with Barkley. Only except I had to open up the newspaper to see that. Or I caught that 3-minute segment on the news with there was no Sports Center like that. So I caught that 3-minute segment on the local news where the Philadelphia 76ers played Cleveland last night. Charles Barkley goes for 35 points and 18 rebounds and 4 assists. Like, that kind of stuff was going on. So I'm wondering if we got to see those guys more, I think we would criticize them more, but would we be talking about them in a higher regard more?
I think it's gonna be the same thing. So I think in the moment we would a little bit overvalue them. And I think that I don't know that the difference is about seeing them, because I really don't think most of these people, because I'm talking to a lot of people and I'm questioning how much they actually watch basketball. And to your point, like I was fortunate because I saw a lot of Bulls games on WGN. I got a lot of Sixers games up here. We had a satellite dish, so I would always tune in to the local KTLA and watch Laker game, et cetera, et cetera. However, to your point, I think there's more conversation about it, because for the masses, you're right. We had to look at the newspaper the next day, and then we would talk to our people who talked basketball, and there were less of us, but we would talk to each other about, wow, did you see that? When we say see, I mean see that Barkley went for 35 and 14 last night, right? Did you know that he did that? No, really? Oh, that's amazing. And you're right. There wasn't a highlight culture, whereas now you've got NFL Red Zone and NBA highlights, and if someone like just think about it, you go on Twitter, and if we're playing in a game and I dunk on you right now, it's all over X in 5 minutes, and everyone's seeing the highlight. The game's not even over yet, and you're like, whoa, did you see Ja do that? Remember that one that reversed he did a couple weeks ago? Everybody knows about it, and they're talking about it on social as they're watching the games. So the conversations are higher. And why I say overvalue is we're looking at a game by game thing, and we're making career and legacy comments about a game. And that's what I don't think we did before. We didn't look at one game and go, wow, he dropped 50 and 10. He's an all-time great center.
Right.
I don't think we did that.
No, I don't think we did either.
And now we do. So that's why I say, if we did have all that technology then, I think it would have been the same thing. We would have started talking about Barkley as one of the all-time greatest power forwards of all time. And then as time went on, and then you just look back, you'd be like, he would then eventually get placed
in his proper perspective. Sure, he would. I just feel like
we're watching Joker,
sure,
who might probably looks like he's going to end up top 15, maybe top 10 all time. So we're in real time seeing a guy who's actually working his way into.
That's what I mean. The fact that we're seeing Joker in real time as much as we're seeing him, and I didn't get an opportunity to see Olajuwon as much. I saw Olajuwon, no doubt. I saw Ewing. I saw Barkley. I saw Kobe Bryant. I saw Gary Payton, Mark Price, John Stockton. But I didn't get to see these guys nearly as much in real time as much as I'm seeing Anthony Edwards, who's on TV 3-4 nights a week, who Joker is on TV 2-3 nights a week, where I'm seeing him more regularly than I would, which would explain why we're talking about these guys the way we're talking about them, because those 30 and 15 games. I mean, Joker went 36 and 22 a couple of nights ago. To see stuff like that and actually see it in real time, and there's a reason why we're talking about him like this, because one, his game is fantastic, no doubt about that, but the competition that he's going up against, and the fact that we're seeing him, Barkley being in a big man league, being an undersized big, doing everything that he was doing. And if we were able to see him 3 times a week and see those 30 and 15 games, those 40 and 20 games, those 35 and 20 games, how much differently would we be talking about him? How much differently would I be talking about Stockton if I got to see those 23 and 18 assist games?
But
do
you feel that in the moment we would have talked about him different? Because I think today, like, the same people would be saying the same things. Like, us older guys would be saying Barkley was a menace, and today's people say he went up against plumbers, he was 6'4". What are you talking about? I think it would be the same conversation, and I think it's gonna be the same with Joker. We're seeing in real time how great he is, and we're seeing him all the time on TV or wherever you watch. And then in 10 years from now, they're gonna be like, who cares, dude? That guy couldn't play defense. Look at Wemby. He's dropping 40 a night and getting 6 blocks and da-da-da-da-da. And he couldn't move like him. He couldn't dribble like him. He couldn't shoot like him. I feel like you're going to have, regardless of the player, I think that's going to happen. I think.
But what us seeing it in real time, we see it more though. And like a lot of the stuff that I saw back then, I saw it in real time, but I saw a small sample size of it. Tone, you get to see Joker way more. And not only do you get to see Joker way more, you get to see Joker on the regular and have a different perspective today.
Hold on.
about
How many games? How many Denver games do you watch a week?
I see them at least once on the. I watch them at least, but I watch a lot more. But I get to see them at least once a week.
Was there
Maybe.
a superstar player that we were talking about was going to be an all-time great, Olajuwon, Jordan, Barkley, that you didn't have the ability of seeing once a week?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. But remember, Tone, back then, unless you were playing the Lakers, unless you were playing the Celtics, you weren't on TV a lot. That was not going on.
You weren't on national TV.
Right. And I didn't have access to that. I didn't have access to the satellite. It wasn't until I went to college that I got to see more of Jordan because I got to see the WGN network.
I was fortunate we had WGN.
I didn't have that. No,
So
the only time I saw Jordan.
And then as a Laker fan, I made sure we had a satellite or, an uncle with a satellite went to his house. And because because people forget national games versus local games. Like you could catch every team's local games. So I purposely said Barkley, Jordan, Magic, like there was. Now Olajuwon wasn't one of them, to be honest, even though I knew he was great. I probably watched once every couple of weeks a Rockets game, which were also harder to find as well, to your point.
Way harder.
But there was access, to your point, they're all available now, but I don't know how many people are watching that. Like there's not enough. No, I don't think anyone has enough time to watch that many. There wasn't like a playback though, like where you could pick a game and go watch it. I see your point.
And that's all I was saying. Because again, I'm not saying that these guys are overrated. I'm thinking to myself, if I have an opportunity to watch more,
sure you want to watch more of them. Absolutely, yeah.
And I watch a lot of Denver games, but at minimum, I'll catch once a week, right? Because that's part of the gig. I mean, that's what I do. So I watch a lot of Denver games. I watch a lot of Minnesota games. I watch a lot of Celtic games. I really didn't get to see Bird as much as I'd like to. I saw Bird a lot on CBS. Right, I saw Bird a lot.
As a Laker fan, I saw too much Bird.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
I saw too much of Bird. Speaking of that, I'm headed to Detroit tomorrow morning, and we're gonna catch. We got the Pistons, Hornets, and Pistons T-Wolves back to back. So I'm gonna go see Anthony Edwards. I told you he's one of the guys I paid to see money. I'm gonna go pay to watch him play.
Let's go check him out. Let's go check him out. And he better play too, by the way. I don't want to hear none of that. Yo, he's sitting out.
And I know you're watching, so let me put my eyes on the camera. I know you're watching, Tim Hardaway Sr. Get back to me. I text you. You said you're going to get my boy in to see Tim Hardaway Jr. and some of the other Pistons in there, so make it happen. Although he's upset. He goes, Jaden Ivey's his favorite Piston, and I's not be playing. Sir Darko the Third sent us a super chat. What's good with y'all? Quick question. When doing all-time ranking, do you value peak or longevity more? The reason I ask, or why I ask, is I think Jokic close to top 15 due to peak, but needs more years.
Fair enough. And I think winning matters too. I mean, when I talk about the top 10, my criteria is your game timeless, which I think Joker's game is timeless. Did you dominate? Which Joker is in this, I think this probably 4-year stretch. I think he's dominating. And then I asked, how much did you win? And I feel like Joker, I think I need some more winning before we can talk a little bit more about where he is all time.
Mars put out a question and said, what more does Joker have to do for you guys that don't rank him kind of top whatever? And that was for an all-time list. And I said, well, obviously my criteria is you have to finish playing because I don't rank you until you finish. But what I need for him to do is do this for a few more years, right? Like 2-3 more years.
I need 10 years, Tone. I do. I need a decade.
That's my number. But you're right. The peak stuff has him in that conversation. So when we talk about Joker being a top 15, top 10 player all time, it's based on his trajectory because we don't want to get fooled again like we did with Dwight Howard.
No, I don't
want to get fooled again because we all started, he's going to be the greatest center of all time. And he is not.
No, he isn't.
Mello Williams, what game are you watching? By the way,
Celtics and Minnesota. It's a
How's-
dogfight. It's a 2-possession game with 40 seconds, and the Celtics got the ball.
There's
I'm sorry, Tone. I'm focused.
There's no. We could if there's 40 seconds left. Are they in timeout or are they playing?
No, Minnesota just got the ball, and it's
Give
DiVincenzo had
me
the
your
ball.
best play-by-play.
Foul. Yep. DiVincenzo's going to the free throw line with 28 seconds. He just got fouled on a 3 by Drew Holiday. Unbelievable. They that was on the floor, and that's a foul. They're down. It's 118-112. DiVincenzo goes to the free throw line, and they're going to probably challenge this, even though it was a foul.
118-112 for Boston.
118-112. Boston is up. 28 seconds. DiVincenzo's at the line. He's got 3 shots.
Up 6 now. They won.
I think it's over too. I do. I think 118 points. We got enough points to win.
Yeah.
And
remember those days? First team to 100 wins.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen anymore.
Even though Minnesota doesn't have to foul, I think that Boston. I still think 118 is gonna be enough, but I think that they're gonna score again. I do think that.
All right. So while that's finishing up, Mello Williams says with we're talking about the NBA and what it needs more defensive-minded players in the league, like OG Anunoby, Dyson Daniels, Wemby, Evan Mobley. Do you agree?
I do, and the reason why is because what that brings is I feel like that brings more. Not continuity. It brings more of a complete player, and I feel like it raises the level of other players. That you have to be more of a complete player if you're going to be great in this league. And guys like OG Anunoby, Dyson Daniels, Wemby, guys who play on the other side of the basketball and are elite at it. When you start talking about the better players in the game, these are the kind of players with this kind of skill set. You might not be talking about OG Anunoby, you might not be talking about Dyson Daniels, but you're talking about this kind of player. That's why I feel like the game needs more players like this.
The problem is nobody talks about players like this other than say, oh, we need more, but you don't show any of their highlights. You don't show their blocks, their steals, their positioning, their whatever. You don't pay them mind. And not one of those people that they named here, not one has won a championship. And you said winning matters. And so if these guys on your team don't bring championships, then why do we need more of them?
Well,
I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm saying we don't.
Oh, 100%. I get that, but okay, sure, Tone. These guys, Wemby's in year 2, Evan Mobley, he's in year 4. Dyson Daniels, this is the first year that he's actually been playing, but history has shown that guys like this, guys like Evan Mobley, guys like Wemby, guys like Dyson Daniels, guys like OG Anunoby, those guys, their games that's conducive with winning. Guys that are going to play on the defensive side of the ball, guys who are good at knocking down open shots, guys who aren't going to be detriments on offense, but guys who are going to be a plus on defense and are going to do the other things in order for us to win. Guys like this, it's been shown that guys like this, you're going to have an opportunity to win when you have guys like this. So Dyson Daniels,
you need a defensive role player, because how many top 2 options are these types of guys that win championships?
Giannis, let's see, Giannis, Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis hasn't been playing like that this season.
When he played like that, yes, you're right. Yeah.
Anthony Davis, Giannis, and I don't mean Anthony Davis is a top 2 player in the league, but I feel like when he was
top 2 on their team, top 2 option on their team is what I meant.
Anthony Davis, Leonard was like that. I feel like, let's see, Anthony Davis, Leonard was like that. I feel like James was like that. But in today's game,
James won a championship as a defensive stopper.
Yeah, in 2013, he was second in the league in defensive player of the year. Tony, he was definitely an elite.
That was 11 years ago. So
not today.
11 years.
Yeah, not today. I'm just thinking about guys.
And I'm talking about in today's game.
In today's game,
I don't feel like that is something that you need a guy like you need a Drew Holiday.
Yes,
but he's the 3rd or 4th option. So that's what I'm saying is do you need more of them? I think they're tough to find because you don't give these guys opportunities. You don't give them minutes. You don't give them the praise and the recognition that they deserve. And I think so it's not going to be typically, there's those exceptions that you mentioned. But for the most part, it's going to be that third, fourth, fifth guy, maybe that starter or that guy coming, the sixth man off the bench. That's going to be your defensive guy. As long as
I think we do give these guys the minutes, and I do think that we give these guys the camera, but I don't think we talk about them as much as we do. Like Dyson Daniels is going to be up for Defensive Player of the Year when the season is up. I think Evan Mobley is going to win Defensive Player of the Year, even though what Wemby is doing as a rim protector is unprecedented. I think what Evan Mobley is doing as an overall defensive player and what he's doing for that Cavs team, I think he's going to be right there. So is Dyson Daniels. OG Anunoby is one of the better on-ball wing defenders in the game. That's one of the main reasons why the Knicks are at the top of the East. One of the main reasons why. It's not just because Cat can shoot the long ball. It's because they got one of the better wing defenders in the game in OG Anunoby. We don't talk about him as much because why? Very much like Tone, chicks dig the long ball, right? So because chicks dig the long ball in the NBA, people dig the long ball, but they're not really digging it as much as they used to. So maybe we will start talking about these guys a little bit more.
Defensive Player of the Year. Rudy Gobert, no chips. Triple J, no chips. Marcus Smart, no chips.
Played in the finals that year.
Rudy Gobert, no chips. Giannis in 1920, is that the year they won?
Yes.
Congratulations. Rudy Gobert, nope. Gobert, nope. Draymond Green, yep, but he was a third option. Fourth option on that team. Kawhi Leonard, nope. Kawhi Leonard, nope. It's funny, the 2 years that he won it were the 2 years after he won the championship. Joakim Noah, nope. Gasol, nope. Chandler, nope. So
Tyson Chandler did win the NBA championship in Dallas. Yes,
did he win it that year? The year that he won Depoy?
The year before he was.
The year before, yeah.
The year before, but he did win the championship though. Yes,
that's right. He did win the championship. All right, speed round, and then I got some more topics for you. Or do you want me to put the link? Which do you have a preference? I'll do both. We'll see if anybody comes.
Let's see what happens.
We didn't say we were going to do it, so no one might be ready to jump on. Here we go. Speed round. This is for you too, although it says Tone. CJ Stroud, top 5 quarterback in NFL.
Are there 5 better? See, because just so you guys know, I know this sounds ridiculous, but Patrick Mahomes did not make the Pro Bowl this year. He did not. Just want to put that out there. He did not make the Pro Bowl this year, Tone. I know that sounds ridiculous, but Patrick Mahomes didn't. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes did not make the Pro Bowl this year. That doesn't mean he's not a top 5 quarterback, because I think he still is. But
I say Holmes, Burrow, Allen are the 3 that are
Jackson.
Those are the 4 that for sure. So I would say no. I'd say just out of the top 5, but he's close.
I'm with that.
Okay. Fluent's a football fan, but he's also a Bears fan. Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Be a fan of a bad team and still know sport. We need a player's choice combine. I want to see everyone's 40s.
No, sir. You do not want to see my 40.
I run a 4.40. 44 seconds. It's still 4.4, so I don't know. I used to run a 4 something.
I could run 100% run a long time ago. A lot of gray hairs ago, I could run. Yes.
No, when I had no gray hairs. Like I was on the high school relay team. I wasn't slow. But I think those days are well gone. I don't know if I want to do. I'll ask you. Do you want to do? ESPN said the top 10 NBA players in the NBA right now. Do you want to look at that list, or do you want to look at the MVP leaderboard first?
Let's go with the leaderboard first in the NBA.
Okay, leaderboard. I want to point out something about this leaderboard, if I may. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the top 7 are non-American.
The top 3 are. The 4 of the 5 are.
4 of the top 5 are not from the U.S. of A. Donald Trump has said he wants to make Canada the 51st state. I forgot to ask you, how do you feel about that? Would you welcome us in?
Donald Trump is so goofy.
But would you welcome us in as the 51st state? Is my question.
No, I wouldn't. No.
Why?
Because you're not a state, Tone. You're a country. Okay.
So, but what if we took our 10 provinces and made each of them states? So instead of 50, you had 60.
So now we got 60 states.
Yeah, just add a few more stars. The good news is the majority of the people in the U.S. think there's 52 states, so they don't even know how many they have. We did a survey that is factual. They think there's 52, so really there being 60, we could just teach everybody. Hey, by the way, now there's 60. So now there's 60. Okay, so there's 8 more. Some will say, yeah. So I just think they take the 10 provinces and make them each. Forget the territories. The territories can stay on their own. But the 10 provinces, and we could have 60 states, and it worked. What we'll do is we'll give you guys healthcare and oil. We have oil. You could be less dependent on.
And we'll reduce your taxes. How about that?
And you reduce exactly where I was.
Does that work?
And your military. We'll get rid of our government. So that's a bunch of waste, fat we can cut the guys that don't deserve jobs anyways.
Great.
Our dollar is worth more.
Well, you won't need it anymore because you're now part of us. So it'll be American dollars.
Exactly. We'll give you ketchup chips and poutine, which is delicious, by the way, if you've never had
that.
No, French fries with cheese and gravy. French fries with cheese and gravy. Oh, dude! When you come to Toronto, I'm going to get you some. It's delicious.
I'm not eating that.
And listen, we already got. They just opened up in my neighborhood. Finally, I got a Chick-fil-A, a Steak Shack. So we're getting all the stuff anyways. So I'm happy. I love Shake Shack, by the way. It is that is my jam. That being said, so the amount of oil and we're your largest trade partners anyways. Do you know if we were to shut down our nuclear power plant, that New York City would have no power? Like, you all need us, so we might as well just be one. You know, when that was that big do you remember that blackout that took out the whole East Coast 15, 20 years ago, whenever it was? That was our power grid that we're on. So it is. SGA at 1. How do you feel?
I actually do like it. And I said this earlier, probably about a week ago, that I think it's between him and Jason Tatum off the strength of I value winning. And I think the SGA impacts winning a little bit more than Jason Tatum. Just a little bit more. I still think Jason Tatum is better than him. I don't think that it's a huge gap, but I think I would take Jason Tatum over him as a player because I feel like he does more in terms of his ability to play make, his ability to pass. But I think
probably more valuable to his team.
I just think he impacts winning more than Jason Tatum does, considering what Jason Tatum has on the Boston Celtics and what Shea has on the Oklahoma City Thunder. I would take SGA right now.
At the beginning of the season, and you can go check the tape for those that don't believe me. At the beginning of the season, I told you, not based on game or record, but based on narrative alone, Victor Wembanyama would be a top 5 MVP vote getter.
You said that in September, Tone. You said that.
I said
100% said that.
Look where he is.
He's 4th. I'm sorry, 5th right now.
He's right there. He's 5.
And if I'm not mistaken, San Antonio, they're 9th right now. They're in the play-in tournament, and he's in the MVP conversation. This is incredible.
Tell me how you really feel, because you're being nice right now. I want to know how you really feel.
I don't like it, Tone. And the reason why I don't like it is because I feel like as good as he is, I don't think he's this good yet. I don't. There's a lot of flaws in his game that need to be corrected, and they will be corrected. But because Victor Wembanyama came into the league with all of this fanfare and all of this hype, he has to be this good right now instead of him being the best player in the league in year 5, the defensive player of the year in year 4. He has to be that right now. And I don't think he's this good right now. I don't.
Do you feel that the marketing department in the NBA is pushing their agenda that may or may not backfire on them, as it has done in recent history, by having Victor Wembanyama, let's be honest, he is going to be the defensive player of the year, and he will be a top 5 MVP vote getter. Do you feel it's because they are trying to say this is the face of our league and they want to jump on it early?
Yes, they do. 100%, Tone, because I think that they failed with Zion. I think they failed with Ja. I think that they failed, that they're trying to push Jason Tatum as that guy, and it's really not working as well as they thought it would. So instead, let's hitch our wagon to a guy who everybody thinks is the next great player. Let's hitch our wagon to him and hope that he holds up. If he holds up, then we were right.
Is there any other people on this list that make you question your sanity?
Yes. Number 9.
Who's number 9? LeBron James.
He's not, Tone. He's not an MVP candidate, Tone. He isn't. No, he is not.
But he's your GOAT.
100% he is. But he's not an MVP candidate right now. He's not, Tone. No, as good as this Laker team is, he went out of the lineup. With him going out of the lineup, the Lakers, I mean, they weren't terrible, but they weren't great, but they weren't terrible neither with him out of the lineup. And that team doesn't go as he goes. When I think about the league MVP, I think that a team goes as this other guy goes. And that's why I feel like with LeBron James, with him being on the Lakers, I think he makes them I think they're 4th right now in the West. I think he makes them a good team, but I think that they put his name in there off the strength of it just being him. I think it's off the strength of it just being him. I don't think he's an MVP candidate. No.
I think it's based on him. They're 7th, by the way. I think it's based on him doing what he's doing at 40. I think that's the narrative. Is look what he's doing at 40, because no one has done what he has done at 40. But is he the 9th most important player to his team when it comes to winning? You can make that argument. Like, would the Lakers even be in contention if he didn't exist?
Is he more valuable to his team winning than Jalen Brunson is to the Knicks?
No.
Or Cat?
No.
Or Ja?
Cat, yes. Ja, no. Brunson, no. No. But is he a better player than Brunson? And important to his team? Like, when you add the two things together?
Is he more is he more valuable to his crew than what James Harden's been doing with the Clippers? And you already know how you feel about the Clippers, Tone. But is he more valuable than what James Harden's been doing with the Clippers? I don't think so.
Probably not. But again, Harden's not. No. Okay, so that's your biggest problem on this list.
Yes. I know how you feel about De'Aaron Fox, but
here's how I feel about De'Aaron Fox. He's not going to make it past the trade deadline on the Kings.
He's going to be gone.
So I don't know. He's top 10 in MVPs, and he's going to be traded.
I think he's 5th in the league in scoring, Tone, and I think that there's let's see if I'm not mistaken. I think he's one of 5 guys in the league that's averaging 25, 5 and 5. There's not many guys in the league doing that.
I would say trade everybody on your team to get De'Aaron Fox and Jonas Valanciunas to the Lakers, keeping LeBron and AD, by the way.
Well, Tone, you and I have had this conversation. James already wrote the blueprint for me. Fox already said he wasn't signing that extension. I'm out.
He's out. He's got to trade.
I'm out. We got to move off of him.
Who is? I don't know who this guy is, but every player we've said, he said to the Magic, to the Fox, to the Magic. Who's the other person we talked about? Oh shoot.
We're talking about Fox in terms of trades. That's all we were talking about. We didn't talk about anybody else.
No, there's somebody else to the we were talking about another player, and he's like, to the Magic. Somebody wants the Magic to make a trade. I don't think the Magic are going to do any. Maybe Asia Wilson.
The Magic can't make a trade because they already have the pieces necessary in order to win. They just got decimated by injury. We're not doing that there is no fixing the Magic right now. No, there is none. They have the pieces necessary in order to win. They just got decimated by injury. We're not moving anybody.
When I come to Hollywood, Florida, that is, are we going to a Heat game or a Magic game?
Oh, the Heat. The Heat are a lot closer. The Heat are probably a half an hour
closer, but
yeah. They're probably half an hour away.
Last time I made you drive to Tampa, so you know me, I don't care how far it is.
Yeah, Tampa's like 3 hours away, so
we'll make it work.
Mhm.
Okay, that is it for this. But let me stick to that for a second. De'Aaron Fox, do you agree with me that he's going to be traded?
He 100% needs to be traded. If he's not traded, Sacramento is making a huge mistake. I'm not saying that they're making a mistake, Tone.
If he doesn't get traded,
he walks out the front door for nothing.
And
I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not, Tone. LeBron James wrote the blueprint on what not to do when your star is coming up on a contract year and he doesn't sign an extension. You have to move him because you can't get left holding the bag. On top of that, Tone, they built this unit around both Fox and Sabonis. So if you're moving off of Fox and you lose him for nothing, what are we doing with Sabonis?
You got to trade Sabonis.
We got to blow this whole thing up.
Oh, well, it is Sacramento.
It is. Let's make sure we clear on that, ladies and gentlemen.
Sacramento is only like a sliver. Sorry, Ox, a sliver behind the Buffalo Braves, right? So you got the Buffalo Braves, you got the Kansas City Royals, or the Kansas City Kings. They were the Kansas City Kings too, weren't they? All right, Kansas City. They should go back to Kansas City, by the way. I really feel like Kansas City, not before Seattle. Kansas City. I keep saying
they were the Cincinnati Royals, Tone.
Cincinnati Royals.
That's who Oscar Robertson played for, and then they moved to Kansas City in '85.
But when they moved to Kansas City, were they the Kansas City Royals first, or did they become the Kansas City Kings?
So they were the Kings when they moved to Kansas
City. They were
City.
the Kansas City Kings. Okay, so the Kansas City.
They moved from Kansas City to Sacramento.
Seattle, Kansas City. They need a team, and then you could take the damn fake LA team if they don't want to be, if they want to stay in California and they can move to Sacramento. I don't care about their new stadium. You can blow it up, make it a parking lot. We're so past time, by the way. So we're gonna skip whatever else we were gonna do. Unless, was there anything on that list? I know the Kansas City Royals are baseball, but because they were the Cincinnati Royals, I wasn't sure if they changed their name when they moved, because not everybody changes their name. We kept the Lakers. We got no lakes, and how many lakes are in LA? Which, by the way, I keep saying, when a team moves to a new city, they really should change the name and start a new history. Even though that hurts my Lakers with how many rings they would have.
That's what Charlotte did. That's what that's what the Pelicans did. I mean, they moved from Charlotte to New Orleans.
No, they were the New Orleans. They were the New Orleans Hornets,
and
then
became the Pelicans.
And then became the Pelicans because the Bobcats became a thing, and then they wanted the name back. So the Hornets, the Bobcats became the Hornets, and New Orleans became the Pelicans. It's so
can we have our name back, please? Thank you very much. That's the only reason why we call the Bobcats, because you got our name. We actually want our name back.
How silly is it that the Utah is the Utah Jazz when you damn well know they're not allowed to play jazz music in Utah?
I lived in Utah. There's no jazz clubs in Utah.
Jazz music.
I don't know any jazz clubs in Utah. None whatsoever. None.
Should we open one? Do you think that would be like a thing?
It might be. It might be.
I don't have it. I used to have Guess Who's back again, but so I'll play another Eminem.
Snap back to reality.
Kawhi Leonard, as our last topic of the day, is threatening to come back to the NBA.
He's not threatening, Tone. He's not. He's doing it. He's not threatening to come back. It's official. I think, what's today? Today's Thursday. Saturday, he's on the roster. Saturday, he's on the moniker, Tone. He will be back in effect. Now, the question is how long will Leonard be in the show? That's the $1 million question. Because again,
when's he slated to come back?
Saturday.
Which is what?
January the 4th.
January the 4th? He's done by March 4th.
Right after the All-Star.
I give him 60 days. He will get hurt, play in the All-Star game, and then be like, "Ooh, I'm actually too hurt. I shouldn't have played," and call it a night.
I wouldn't be, to be honest with you, Tone, I wouldn't be surprised. And the fact that we have to talk about this is just evidence that how much I'm over in your terms, Tone, the paper clips. I'm finished with these dudes. I'm tired of them, Tone. I am tired of the paper clips. I'm tired of you selling me one thing and then it's something else, and then you keep telling me Kawhi Leonard's coming back. Okay, he's coming back, and then what? The same thing happens over and over and over and over again with this guy. I am tired of it. I have had it.
You bought, not you. I'm using you. Bought season tickets 4 years ago to watch Paul George and Kawhi Leonard,
Yes,
and you're getting, although he's playing well, you're getting old Harden and Norman Powell. That's your 1-2 punch, and I love. Listen, mean Scowl Powell, as they called him during the playoffs in Toronto, a heck of a player. But if old Harden and Powell are your best two players,
right,
you ain't holding up that Larry O.B. No offense.
No, you're not. You are not. I'm. And see, here's the thing, Tone. Like I see this right here. Chill hates the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard. I don't hate you. I'm just over you. That's all.
No,
I don't hate you.
Just like we talked about before. It's just honest. It's just factual.
That's it.
There's nothing against Kawhi. We all love Kawhi.
Yes.
He's a fun guy.
You never heard me talk about Kawhi Leonard's game. And I don't hate the Clippers. I don't hate Kawhi Leonard. I'm just over this whole situation.
I hate the Clippers. I hate the Clippers. I hate everything about the Buffalo Braves, with the exception of our good friend, Bob McAdoo. With the exception of Bob, who gave us the permission to use his sideburns and stash on a T-shirt. With the exception of there's nothing I like. I didn't even like that show Clipped. Did you watch that?
I didn't see it. No,
it was horrible. Lawrence Fishburne playing Doc Rivers. You'd think it was garbage. It was hot trash. All I did the whole time watching it was the whole damn thing. Everything about them stinks. So, but I like Kawhi Leonard. I like
Boo birds.
So,
wait, can I get the boo birds one more time, please?
Do you want more boos? Because anytime you bring up, what are they called? The Buffalo Braves? That's what I hear in the back of my head.
Daddy, these guys are garbage.
Anyways, yeah. Listen, it's time for me to.
I drank a beer. I drank a beer.
Even though you know I'm.
Hey, you know what? I've got this water.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's time to call it a night.
Yes, it is.
There's some things happening behind the scenes. I can't tell you yet. But you might see me in some old familiar places sooner than you think. But with that,
we will see you guys soon. Until then, welcome to 2025. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. We will talk to you guys soon. We're back on Tuesday next week. We will talk to you guys soon. Until then, take it light, but take it.
tried to get fireworks, but I got laser beams.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.